All right, here we go. All right, welcome back, friends. Our third edition of our CT party. Remember, you are abstracting right now. Where is the Cheshire Cat hiding on the opening screen? So you can use it later on to fill in your form and get another entry into the raffle.
I think if they come to all of them, Sean, we should give them like perfect attendance award.
Oh, I'll give them like something extra for being here all the time. Don't you worry. All right, Becca, you good?
Yep. Okay. So this is week 3. What are algorithms? A quick, I'm Becca. My partner in crime.
Yeah, I'm still Sean. Nothing's changed since last week, so we're all good.
So our agenda is pretty similar to last week. Quick community builder. What are algorithms? How to use it in the classroom. Quick algorithm activity that you can use in your own classroom. Additional resources and questions along with some feedback.
All right, so we get to our lovely, my favorite part, the community builder. All right, here we go. Which Nick Cage represents how you feel as you plan out your week? So think about when you're mapping out your week. How do you feel based on your Nick Cage? Clark feels relaxed as he's planning out his week. Lauren's thinking about it. Lauren is a 4. She gets excited. I love that. I find myself, when I actually map out my week, I am a number 5. It helps me focus on what exactly I need to get done. Becca, what about you?
I am sleeping like 2 and 3 hours a night, so I'm kind of a 9 right now.
Well, I guess a 9 is better than an 8. That's how I would look at it. You're not screaming bloody murder with foods.
No, I just wish I could sleep.
Yeah, you gotta work on
it. Benadryl is not working anymore. Okay, so what are algorithms? It's probably the most familiar one of the 7 components. But algorithms are simply the step-by-step instructions we use to accomplish a task. So, for example, making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. There are multiple steps to doing this, and one of the things that I often find is that children with processing issues, children on the spectrum especially, have trouble processing the directions, the step-by-step directions, and they use picture clues. And we forget sometimes that children who are typically developing could also use picture clues to help lay out the algorithm. So when we say, let's make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, we have to get out the bread, get out the jelly, get out the peanut butter, get out all the materials. And there's the step of taking off the top to the jelly, the step of putting your knife in the jelly, getting enough on it, pulling it out, putting it on the bread, spreading it out. So even though this is only 10 steps, there are tons of different steps to break down making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And one simple mishap or bug in the algorithm could prevent the sandwich from actually being successful. So this is just what algorithms are. So Sean, okay, I was gonna say you're gonna play it.
All right, get ready.
I love Sheldon. I'm Sheldon, I feel like.
All right, here we go.
Just in time. I believe I've isolated the algorithm for making friends.
Sheldon, there is no algorithm for making friends.
Hear him out. If he's really onto something, we could open a booth at Comic-Con, make a fortune.
See, my initial approach to Kripke had the same deficiencies as those that plagued Stu the Cockatoo when he was new at the zoo.
Stu the Cockatoo? Yes, he's new at the zoo.
It's a terrific book. I've distilled its essence into a simple flowchart that will guide me through the process.
Have you thought about putting him in a crate while you're out of the apartment?
Hello, Kripke. Yeah, Sheldon Cooper here. It occurred to me that you hadn't returned any of my calls because I hadn't offered any concrete suggestions for pursuing our friendship. Yet perhaps the two of us might share a meal together. Yeah, I see. Well, then perhaps you'd have time for a hot beverage. Popular choices include tea, coffee, cocoa. I see. No, wait, don't hang up yet. But what about a recreational activity? I bet we share some common interests. You tell me an interest of yours. Really? On actual horses? Tell me another interest of yours. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I have no desire to get in the water till I absolutely have to. Tell me another interest of yours.
Uh-oh, he's stuck in an infinite loop.
I can fix it.
It's interesting, but isn't ventriloquism by definition a solo activity? Yeah. I mean, tell me another interest of yours. Is there any chance you like monkeys? Yeah, what is wrong with you? Everybody likes monkeys. Hang on, Kripke. A loop counter and an escape to the least objectionable activity. Howard, that's brilliant. I'm surprised you saw that.
Gee, why can't Sheldon make friends?
All right, Kripke, that last interest strikes me as the least objectionable, and I would like to propose that we do that together. Tomorrow. Yes, I'll pay. All right, goodbye. All right. Time to learn rock climbing.
Okay, so from that video and thinking about algorithms, what do you notice and what do you wonder?
All right, I will share. So I noticed that Sheldon was very focused on those steps, and he was pointing out step by step what he was trying to do in order to tackle the problem of making a friend.
Matt, do you have some?
I noticed that he had a friend to help him problem solve when he was stuck on something.
Anybody else? Not putting anybody on the spot. All right. So we're going to just briefly talk about some other examples. Obviously, brushing your teeth is an algorithm that we need to teach our students because it is a step-by-step process. They have to understand that in order to brush my teeth, I have to take the cap off of the toothpaste before I remotely try to squeeze it onto the toothbrush. I also have to think about what supplies do I need in order to perform the algorithm. So if we think back to the video with Sheldon, he got stuck in that infinite loop where he couldn't get out of it because he wasn't able to understand what the next possible step could be. So Howard had to step in and put in a counter to that and say, go with the least objectable activity. If it doesn't bother you as much as the other ones, that's the one that you're going to pick. So sometimes we have to think about how do our students process the steps that are given to them. Some of them might be very auditory, where they just listen and learn. Some of them are very visual, though, and they have to have a picture that goes with it so that they can kind of download the image really to their brain and say, okay, I know I have to do this first. So instead of just saying, put the toothpaste on the toothbrush, physically showing them a picture of somebody putting the toothpaste on the toothbrush. If we think about our daily schedules, kids are very, very good at following schedules once they learn why they need to follow them. So understanding that, I know that after this class is PE, I need to be prepared with everything I need because I'm going to be leaving my classroom. Or I know that math is coming up in a half hour. I need to make sure I have all of my supplies ready for math. So algorithms play a huge role throughout our day. Now we're going to get to in the classroom.
In the classroom. So there are two different tools you can use that have really adapted to our virtual learning environment. But when you return to your school, both of these tools are actually going to be available in your schools through the toolkits. The first is a Bee-Bot. And the ones you guys got do not look like this. They are actually Blue Bots, which means they're Bluetooth enabled. But if you can see the top of them, look identical to the visual on the screen right now. It's very similar with the other one. It's a Root robot. It's actually by the same people who make the Roomba, which is kind of funny and kind of cool at the same time. So we're going to practice making an algorithm. So right now we have the alphabet mat, but there is a drop down that you can see that there are more than just alphabet maps. There are, what other maps? I'm sorry, Sean.
I love the community one. I think that's a fun one to do, especially if
Can we
you
pull that one up?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Okay. So right now the community map is up. And if you're thinking more primary grades, prepositions, up, down, left, right, in front of, behind. If you're thinking as they move up, you can use cardinal and ordinal or cardinal directions, north, east, south, west. But we're going to make an algorithm. Right now, we're going to write an algorithm because I'm hungry. It's lunchtime. And I want to get a slice of pizza. So we're going to ask you group participation. And as you say the algorithm, I am going to type it in the chat. And then we are going to have Sean code it for us or program the bot for us. So what is the first step in our algorithm?
You need the green button. The home.
The home button. Yes. Well, actually, that's a really great point, Matt. Thank you for making that. Before you start programming this thing, you actually have to hit the, there it is. I can't see my screen, the X. And that actually clears the program from the previous child who used it. Because this thing, I swear, is like the memory of my 4-year-old. It never goes away. Sean, I love your dogs.
Oh, I don't.
So once you have cleared it, what's the next step to the algorithm?
Forward.
How many?
1.
Forward 1. Okay. Next step.
Turn right.
How many times?
1 time.
1 time. And that's really important because students might say just turn. And if they say turn to a computer, it's going to continuously turn until it's stuck in that infinite loop like Sheldon was. So turn right 1 time. Okay. Then what happens?
Move forward 2.
Okay. Forward 2. And that's also known as a trick question here. When you have to repeat a direction more than 1 time.
Loop.
A loop. See, it's embedding that computer science language in there. Then what's the next step to our algorithm?
Turn left 1 time.
Okay.
Forward 2.
Okay.
And stop.
So are we going to stop in the middle of the street? It's a question that kids might ask.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I agree with you. I would stop there too. But there are going to be some others. So, Sean, there's the algorithm. Can you please run our algorithm and see if we accomplish our task? If you can see on the bottom, the orange part, the kids can actually see their algorithm visually laid out for them. And what I found most common, and I don't know if Sean sees this too. And we're there, is that students will do 1 step at a time. So they'll hit forward, go. And that's where like the clearing it, and then they'll hit right, go. And they won't actually put the process as a multi-step direction. Sean, do you see that too with this tool sometimes? That goal is to get them to increase the number of steps that they can take we want them to get from point A to point B in the same run. But it may be starting out with single step directions. And there are children who don't know how to do multi-step directions. And that's actually, I've written so many IEPs that involved that goal was following multi-step directions. This is a way for a child who has special needs to follow like follow multi-step directions.
It's also good for them to do, this could be honestly an asynchronous activity as well. So this could be something even a 3rd through 5th grader could do, because it may appear childish at first, but the complexity in the thought, like Becca was saying, is there. So you might have somebody in 5th grade that has a hard time following multiple step directions. This is a great way for them to practice. So you could do this in, say, 5 to 10 minutes during a morning meeting or during a synchronous session, and then assign them this to do asynchronously throughout the day. I need you, by the time we come back at 1:30, to be able to give me the algorithm to get from the starting point to the bank. And then if somebody comes in and says, well, there's more than one way, great. Let's look at each way and figure out how many steps they have. So there's lots of different ways that you can get them to break down the algorithm, because in life, there's more than one way to do something, and they need to learn that as well. So if we practice with something like this, the eventual next step would be to go to a little bit more of a robust platform, and that's where the Root comes into play. Like Becca said, the Root is designed by iRobot, which is the same company that makes Roombas. They have an iPad app version, but they also have this version as well. The good thing about it on a Chromebook or a laptop, you can still set up Bluetooth and program the actual robot in person once you have it. But you can practice programming it here, learn how to use it, and then see what it does in the real world. What's also really cool about this robot, it's one of my personal favorites, is one, it has a section in the center that you can put dry erase markers in. I'm going to strangle my dogs today. Go lay down. That you can actually draw with markers with, and it's magnetic on the bottom, so you can actually put it up to a whiteboard and it will drive across the board and draw shapes, or it even has a magnetic eraser that can erase marker off of the board. So one of the things that I tried doing with it last year was a robotic snowplow. So the kids actually had to drive across the whiteboard, erasing the snowflakes, and in the center of the Root, I put a picture of Wade Byard like he was driving the snowplow. And the kids got a kick out of it. And that was their challenge for that day. Code Mr. Byard to clean up all the snow that was left over. So how this program basically works is you're going to go to your new project. And this is the same type of mainframe that the iPad app has. It's exactly the same. But what I really, really like about this platform is the levels of it. So you start off level 1, which is the block-based coding aspect for the kids that are just getting into coding. But then you get to level 2, and level 2 looks very similar to Scratch and Scratch Junior blocks, where they connect them like puzzle pieces. Once you get past level 1 and level 2, you actually see the Python programming aspect of it, where they can see the words instead of the actual blocks. So let's say that my challenge for the day is I want you to just code the robot to make a simple shape. That's all you need to do, okay? So it's always going to start off with when you press play. So the first 3 are our events or our starters. You're going to notice that there's sensors in the front of the robot that can be activated by touch. There's also, when it picks up on movement, it can be activated. The top of the robot actually has touchpad sensors as well. So you can actually program it to be a keyboard and play music while you're using the robot. It's got a lot of cool things added to it. The next ones in the color of yellow are going to be your directionals that you can use to program the robot. You have your lights, your marker, and this is where we're going to be able to draw a shape. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag up my pen. And you're going to notice at the very bottom that trash can pops up. That's where you drag your codes that you don't want to use anymore. And I'm going to connect it. And basically what I'm telling the robot right now is when I press go, you're going to drop down the pen and be able to draw on the board. Then I get to my directionals. Now, if I click on this, you're going to notice that it gets measured in centimeters. So this would be a great math activity to do with your students and teach them about the metric system and say, well, how big is a centimeter? What would 16 centimeters look like? And if you can notice, if I click on the robot, I can actually drag it down and it changes the amount of centimeters that it's going to travel. If I get to here, notice that a stop sign pops up. It means the robot's not going to do anything. So getting that into the conversation, like, well, why not? Well, it says 0, you're not moving anything. If I go past, you're going to notice that I'm changing the direction. The robot's going to move down now instead of up. So if I stick to this, I'm just going to have it go up for 16 centimeters. Then I'm going to have it turn. Now, if I click on that, I get into angle measurement. So here's another way that you can incorporate math. I want it to turn 90 degrees. Well, what does a 90-degree angle actually mean? What does it look like? So this would be a great way for them to actually practice using those angles. So I'm going to have them go straight, turn 90 degrees. Then I'm going to have them go straight again. But this time, I'm not going to make them go 16. I'm going to make them go 8. Then I want to make them turn again, 90 degrees. Then I want to make them go straight. Then another 90-degree turn.
And Sean, are there coding cards to help assist younger coders with this? I think
I believe there are. I would have to double check.
there are coder cards to help them do basic shapes. So if you're looking at like kinders and about the numbers,
Right.
it actually walks them step by step through.
Yeah, there are actually tutorials, trying to think of the word, that have it for them.
Somebody's made kinder cards along the way that I've seen. So
As you can see, as I'm building my algorithm out, there's a lot of steps here. But this would be really cool to do with the students and say, what shape do you think I'm making right now? So far, I'm going straight, turning, going straight again, turning. Ooh, that was extra.
I was wondering about that turn.
Then I'm going straight, then I'm turning, then I'm going straight. Notice the arrows are different sizes, so that helps the students realize that this is going to be a different length. So I'm going to ask Lauren, what shape do you think I'm attempting to make right now with my robot?
A rectangle.
You think I'm trying to make a rectangle. Why do you think I'm trying to make a rectangle?
Because there are 2 longer sides and 2 shorter sides.
Well, let's see. Was I able to make a rectangle?
As this is drawing, there's also a really cool tutorial to make it play baby shark while it draws a shark on your board, or goes across waves on your board, and you can dress it up like a shark. And that's how it was introduced to Sean and I at a conference. So that's what got us.
But you notice as it's going through, it's turning everything green. So very good, Lauren. You're right. I was trying to make a rectangle. But this would be an interesting challenge for those kids that like to be challenged with something extra. Make a square. Hey, can you make a square next to another square? Giving them these challenges is going to help them with that decomposition, the algorithm building. And what I like about this is I'm on level 1 right now. I click on level 2, it shows me the same exact code written a different way. And I can get to level 3, and I can actually see what it looks like written in Python. And the kids will start to notice that, hey, the word move is the same color as the blocks that show movement. So it's just another way for them to visualize what exactly they're coding in 3 different ways. Plus, it's just fun to do.
And the other benefit of this program is kids can test and debug because there's only a certain number in each school. And so if you have them working in pairs using this, if they code it first and show you that they have it correct, then you can give them a robot that they pair and use. So you can still have smaller groups versus larger groups with the limited number that there are.
Right. So just a perfect example, one of the teachers put it on the board in the morning and drew the map on the whiteboard. And when the kids had their free time, they would work with a partner and code it on the iPad and test it and then give the code to the teacher, and they would run the robot through the map and see if it worked or not. All right, so now we get to our activity. And this activity is different from last week because this one you can do just in one day. So we have the algorithm chef. So just like last time, anything in blue is the teacher-facing page. It's going to tell you the time frame, how many minutes. Notice for kindergarten, 30 minutes. So this might be something that you do 2 days if you wanted to. Or you could spend a whole 30 minutes doing it with your kids, depending on if they're able to sit that long. It gives you a little background. Students are going to work together to determine the proper algorithm needed to complete a task. We have the definition so that you have the understanding. Once again, we didn't want to make this a lot of work, so we only need certain things. You need your device, the slideshow. Students need the same thing. We have our targets. We're only focusing on algorithms. So the I will statements again. I will create an algorithm with my teacher or with a group of students that names the steps of a specific task. We have our profile of a graduate. I will think about what steps are needed. I will share my thoughts. I will work with my classmates to design an algorithm. I will create my algorithm, and I will contribute to the discussion. Our vocabulary, once again, only focuses on algorithms. And it gives us our question. What do brushing your teeth and coding a computer program have in common? They both use algorithms. And then our driving question. Can you think of something you did today that was an algorithm? You might have somebody that says, I tied my shoe. That's an algorithm. Great. I got dressed this morning. Awesome. Glad you got dressed this morning. And we have our background. Who is the algorithm chef? Unlike other chefs, he doesn't just make food. He makes anything that comes from an algorithm. So this is just for you to get the kids interested. But the goal really is the last part. We are going to help the chef add new pages to his cookbook today. So we're going to practice. He wants to make a famous peanut butter and jelly recipe for his cookbook. Can you help him by adding words next to the picture? So in this situation, we have to visualize. Well, what exactly are these pictures showing me? Well, step one, I see a lot of supplies. Let me think. What supplies do I need? Well, I need a plate. I need a knife. I need bread. I need peanut butter. I need jelly. So getting the kids to talk about all the different things that they're going to need, walking them through these steps. So by the time they're done, they know it's step 6. Well, that lady looks like she's eating. I guess step 6 is eat and enjoy the sandwich. Then we get to our student activity. And this time, since it's only a one-day activity, we've broken it up on this one page for you to look at. So for K through 2, your kids are going to get 3 choices. You have to work with the teacher in order to design the algorithm. What I like about this is you could do 1 choice a day then. If they pick the first choice, that gives you the other 2 choices to do throughout the week. For 3 through 5, because you have access to a breakout room, you can break the students up into groups and they can pick whatever algorithm they want to complete. K through 2, if you're lucky though, and you have people that can do a breakout room, assign groups and say, all right, you're going to go with this teacher, you're going to stay with me, and everybody else is going to go with this teacher right here, and you're all going to be working on these algorithms together. So for the K through 2, we work at the next algorithm. So they have 3 choices. The algorithm of planting a flower, make an ice cream sundae, or to wash your hands. So the class picks it, or you can assign it in breakout rooms. They're all set up the same. The big difference, though, this time is the oh no. In these 3 scenarios, the cards are now mixed up. So not only do they have to organize the pictures, they also have to tell you what the correct steps are in the algorithm. And this goes for planting a flower, making an ice cream sundae, and washing your hands. So you're going to be working with not only just the visual aspect, but also the word aspect as well. Does it match up to what the step is saying? For your 3 through 5 activity, you're going to be working in your breakout rooms. You can create something dance related, something food related, or something sports related. So if you have a group of students that are all into sports, let's teach everybody how to do the perfect dunk in basketball. Let's talk about how to kick a soccer ball with a curve to it. My dad has a really good recipe on how to make pasta. Let's share that. Or have you guys been watching TikTok lately? Let's teach everybody this really fun dance. But in a sense, dancing is an algorithm. Why not have your students teach everybody a new dance? You can use that then throughout the week during a brain break. Unlike the K through 2, the 3rd through 5th grade students are going to get a blank page. And their goal is to use pictures and text boxes to create. So you're giving them the creativity. They just have to run everything by you as well. And one of the things that one of the teachers brought up last week when doing breakout rooms, she was saying that she likes to put her Google Slides into grid mode. And then she can monitor what's going on in each one of her breakout rooms as the kids are adding more and more things to the screen. So if she notices that in one breakout room the slide is completely empty, she goes right to that slide and works with that group until they understand what they need to do. She also monitors to make sure what they're putting on the slides deal with what the project actually is for. So these are just kind of simple ways that you can monitor your students, but also give them the freedom to use their creativity throughout an activity. And if that's not enough for you, we made a movie for you to show to your students. And now another exciting episode of the Algorithm Kitchen.
Hey, Carly.
What are you doing?
Well, I was programming this Lego Spike Prime robot, but I have a question for you.
Okay.
What does the robot and the toothpaste and toothbrush have in common?
Let's see. Oh, they both use algorithms.
That's right. Can you tell the boys and girls at home what an algorithm is?
Yeah. Algorithms are step-by-step instructions that we use to complete a task.
That's right. Do you want to make some algorithm cereal?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. You got to listen to my instructions.
Okay.
Step 1, grab a bowl. Step 2, put the cereal in the bowl. Oh, you silly girl. I meant pour the cereal into the bowl. Step 3, twist off the cap of milk. Step 4, pour the milk into the cereal. Step 5, grab a spoon. What do you think step 6 is?
Eat it.
That's right, take a bite. So boys and girls, in 6 steps, we were able to make algorithm cereal. Your job is to look around your house and think about all the different things that you do that use algorithms. Well, until next time, I'm the algorithm chef, and this is my helper,
Chef Callie.
saying goodbye.
So our goal really is with these videos is something that you can show during a morning meeting, something that you can show asynchronously, and then follow it up by doing this activity later on during the day. Because then they can come back to you with, well, in our house, these are all the algorithms that we do. Cool, does anybody have something similar to it? Just a way to kind of spark the discussion between the different students.
We'll also point out that there will be a full-length episode of this. This is just a clip from a series of episodes that will be coming out.
So we have lots more characters that we're working on. The chef is just the first one. All right, Becca.
Awesome. So we have some other resources for you. Again, like last week, we had the letter home to parents, remembering that we need to support them in understanding these this language and these concepts so that they can support our learners at home. So what is an algorithm? Why is it important? And then some examples of how do we promote it at home? Getting ready for bed. What is the algorithm to do that? How to do the Macarena. Let a parent teach their kid how to do the Macarena, because that is a timeless dance. If we're having trouble, like last week we talked about getting somewhere on time. Well, what's the algorithm that we need to follow to make sure we're out the door on time? So really just supporting parents' understanding and then allowing the child to be the teacher of the parent. Then we have one of our quarterly experiences. It's the algorithm monster. And it's actually, of all the ones we have, and we have about 30, this is my favorite. What it asks students to do is sit back to back with one another. One student is the drawer, is the artist, and the other student is the computer. It's the person telling or is being told how to draw the picture. So you have one student draw a picture of a monster, and then verbally give directions to the other student while they're sitting back to back so they can't peek. So they might say, draw a circle. If they quickly learn, if they don't use descriptive language, like where the circle should be placed on a piece of paper, how large the circle should be, what color the circle should be, that there's quickly bugs in the algorithm from step one. So I might say, draw a medium-sized circle in the middle of the page with about 1 inch at the top and 1 inch at the bottom. Then in the middle of that circle, I want you to draw a rectangle about the size of your pointer finger. And so they start to describe, and then they turn around and they compare pictures with one another. Where did the pictures look great? Where did the pictures not look great? And I had a teacher take it a step further last year where they did this project and then they wrote stories. They wrote like Halloween stories about them. But the person who gave the verbal directions to the other person could not use their original drawing. They had to use their partner's drawing as the illustration for their writing project. So if they didn't give proper instructions to get that picture the way they wanted it, that was the picture that was going in their classroom book. And it's simple even for if you as a teacher want to do it a whole group. And I would say, I want you to draw this. I want you to draw this. I want you to draw this. And I would purposely give horrible directions to kids, and their pictures wouldn't look anything alike. And they would quickly realize, if we don't tell a computer exactly what we want it to do, our end result of our program isn't going to be what we want. So we need to say how long the line is. Especially with the younger kiddos, use something measurable that they have around them. It's about the length of a pencil. It's about the length of a crayon. It's half the size of that paper. So those descriptive words. But this can be done with all grades using a variety of just changing it up. It's kind of like 20 questions almost. Because you're really just trying to deduce what even the picture is. So that is another one that you can use in the classroom. And then we have the Hour of Code dance party, which is hysterical. You can dab, you can floss. I would say, honestly, no younger than 2nd grade, though. And Sean, I don't know if you agree. It really gets, you get in that infinite loop of hearing the same song over and over again and only seeing a character dab and dab with the younger kiddos. And then how to make a simple paper airplane. How many times during indoor recess as a teacher have you been asked, can you make me a paper airplane? Can you fold me a paper airplane? Well, what is the algorithm to make you a paper airplane? And then it becomes a matter of, well, let's decompose the problem. Why isn't it flying? What aspects of the airplane aren't great? Are your wings the right length? Are they too long? Are they too short? Did you fold the paper hamburger or hot dog? All that matters when you're making a paper airplane. So again, bringing in the language from last week into this week and looking at what we can do even to entertain during indoor recess when we can't let them share supplies or games or whatever the case may be.
Another thing you think about is these are things that they could do at home with their parents. So challenge them to say, you're going to have a paper airplane competition tonight. I need you to come up with algorithms to make a paper airplane. and then see who gets their paper plane to fly the furthest. And you could tie in data collection to that. You could tie in abstraction with that. How come your plane was able to fly better than theirs? What was special about your plane? For the algorithm monster activity, like Becca said, you could do this with small group. You could do this with the whole class. Describe to them what you want to draw and have them pull up a Jamboard and draw it. And then go through and say, wow, you really hit it right on the nose. Like, that's exactly what I was thinking. Or, you were close, but I really wanted the eyes a little bit more towards the center. How could I have explained that better? You could do the same activity with Legos. Dump out a bunch of Legos in front of you and have the kids tell you step by step what piece to add. We're going to make a Lego monster together. I wonder what it's going to look like when we're all done. So there's all different ways that you can kind of modify these activities to meet the needs of your students. For the older kids, I used to do this activity, but I used descriptive writing instead. So they had to write a detailed story first about a monster and then give it to somebody in another classroom and have them draw it. So for the older kids, work with another teacher and say, we're going to do this writing project. My kids are going to write a story about a monster. Your kids are going to draw it. And the same thing, your kids are going to write the story and my kids are going to draw it. And then they can get together and talk about why their picture looks the same or why their picture is different and what could they have done better in their writing.
It's easy to eliminate cheaters with peeking if you tell everybody to turn off their cameras too.
That's true.
So you could give them a description and then they have to turn off their camera. So it might be better in distance.
Mm-hmm. All right, now we get to our favorite part, or one of our favorite parts, the questions and feedback. So does anybody have any questions or feedback? We know we're awesome. You don't have to say it. So we're getting you out early today because you guys are awesome. And you probably got a lot to do. But as always, we want you to fill out the form and get credit for coming here and be entered into our raffle. So take a moment to fill out the survey. And if you ever have any questions or concerns or ideas that you want to share, Becca and I check our emails all day long. So please feel free to let us know. And please feel free to share all of these resources with the rest of your team, including the video, because it is now on YouTube for everybody to watch.
I think the algorithm chef is going to go viral. You're going to be millionaires.
I hope so. That's my goal. I want Becca and I to become as rich and famous as possible for our ideas. That's really the goal in life.
You just wait. If people actually agree to some of the things we've emailed and asked people to do, we have some top dogs in LCPS we've put in some requests for to
be a part of this.
Yes.
That we hound like consistently. Like, hey, did you get that email we sent? You remember that thing that we were talking about? Yeah.
We just want to embarrass you momentarily. Is that okay?
And we try to go with the whole thing like, well, it's for the kids. You don't want to let the kids down. So it's always about the kids.
Even when I have like upper body strength, my one arm, have you ever seen like the workout guys who have one arm that's like super big and the other arm's like really puny? Because this is my puppet arm. This arm is going to be so strong and this arm is going to be so little.
Becca's going to enter into like arm wrestling contests and stuff and win. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. We really do appreciate you guys coming out every week. You're our favorites because you're here every Monday, and we love you for that. So we look forward to seeing you next week. And next week's topic is abstraction. Have a good one, Clark.
Yeah.
Bye, Lauren.
Stop recording.